Hello, this is Catherine Marie, and I was not sure if I was going to actually publish these, but I think I'm going to because that is the whole purpose of the podcast. It's called Long COVID Real Talk, so I'm going to be real, and you're going to get an inside scoop on what it's like to be me in a flare-up. I do this because I don't think it's been done much. It very well may have been, but not that I've found, as far as actually having things recorded during a flare-up. And secondly, I'm hoping that it will help other people identify with what I recorded that I went through, that you also experience, so you don't feel as alone. Also, the other reason why I recorded it for myself is just because it's very, very easy for me to forget how bad the flare-ups are and how bad I feel and how long they last and how much I miss in my life, because you're just sleeping all the time and life, it just feels like it's passing you by. So those were all the reasons why I recorded it, and there are 5 parts. I'm not going to put introductions between each one, so the next 5 segments that you'll hear are the different 5 days during the flare-up that I am just now kind of getting over. So without further ado, here is some real talk about long COVID for you. This is Catherine Marie, and I don't know what episode number this is, but I am having post-exertional malaise, and I feel terrible. And some of the worst feelings are just feelings of shame and guilt, because I can't take care of my family, and I can't do anything, and I just feel so sick, and I don't know what to do. And even when I have a flare-up protocol, it takes energy to initiate it. And it's really hard to pull myself together enough to try to fix my family so that everyone is being taken care of. I feel guilty that I feel so helpless when I get sick, and that I need to ask for help when I get sick, and I have to explain that I need help to other people when they are not used to me needing any help, and that is really hard. I usually go to the gym once a week, and I try to do just really, really, really gentle exercising, and I thought I did a good job yesterday because I took naps between everything that I did. I took 3 naps yesterday, and yesterday after I took my second nap, then I took my kid to a birthday party, and it was a very highly stimulated party, or a party with a lot of stimulation, and I didn't even physically participate like some of the other parents did, even though if I wasn't sick, I would have been like the first one to run around or do stuff, but I was just sitting talking to another parent, and it was only a 90-minute birthday party, but by the end of like, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes, I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm gonna make it the rest of the time. And the parent that I was talking to was like jokingly saying like, are you gonna make it? Because I started like yawning excessively and like trying to prop my head up with my arm or hand or fist or whatever, and then I came home and slept a lot. But then this morning I also like had a little bit of energy and helped my kid get some breakfast, and then it just hit really, really hard again. And I'm trying to figure out what I did wrong, because that's what we all do, right, when we have a flare-up. Like, what did I do wrong this time to make the flare-up happen? And it's hard to remember that there's nothing that, like, it's not our fault when we have flare-ups, because sometimes you can do something and it doesn't cause a flare-up, and then other times it does, and all of the emotions, like in addition to feeling really, really bad, just all of the emotions are really, really strong, and I like these moments are when I understand like why a lot of people with long COVID have had thoughts of suicide, because you feel completely worthless to your family, and you feel like a burden when usually you're the one taking care of everyone. And I just talked to my doctor earlier in the week, because I was feeling not good earlier in the week, and I had a medication adjustment, and I thought it was helping, but with the flare-up, I just feel like the flare-up just throws everything out of whack, and I was just in my bed, like, sobbing, because it's hard to get out of bed. I feel horrible, and I hate that I just hate that I can't get out of bed. And I hate that I can't do anything about it. I just feel so useless and worthless. And I feel like a terrible partner and a terrible mother, a terrible pet owner. I was just sobbing because I was like fumbling around trying to find somebody who could come over and try to help us with childcare because my partner is not feeling well either today. So I have to remember during these times that this is temporary and I'll feel better soon. And that I need to just be patient with myself because I'm gonna feel better eventually. And I love living and I love my life. So I have to just keep remembering that this is not my life. This is not how it's going to be forever. And my head is throbbing because I was crying so hard. I don't know how people live with this disease or illness. Like, I don't know how people do it. I mean, I guess I did it. I've done it for the last almost 2 years, but it's like you forget how bad the post-exertional malaise is. And you start to get a little cocky because you feel okay for a little while, and then it hits and you're completely out of commission. And everything makes your head hurt, and everything is too loud and too bright, and it just sucks. I don't know if I'm ever going to actually share this episode, but I wanted to record it while I was actually having a flare-up to remind myself that this is what it feels like when you have a flare-up, and this is why I need to try to avoid doing things that might cause a flare-up. And hopefully this one won't last that long. Thanks for listening. This is the second episode, or I guess the second part of the PEM episode, or Post-Exertional Malaise. I realize I've been thinking all day about what I did wrong I know that's not how you're supposed to think about it, but that's how it's easy to think about it that way, like what you did wrong to cause a flare. And I'm not sure if it was just gonna happen anyway, or if it's because I was I did too much at the gym, which I didn't feel like I did at all. I actually did less than I've done the last few weeks, but um maybe. And also I stopped 3 supplements that one of my friends had recommended that I start taking a couple months ago, and I stopped taking them on Thursday. So I started taking them again today. I took some in the late morning, and I will butcher the names if I don't have the bottles right in front of me, and I'm laying like flat in bed, so I can't really do that right now. But anyway, I think the hardest part is like the mental part of this, because when I am completely out of commission, I feel so guilty that I can't let my dog out. I can't be with my daughter very much. My husband has like he just, it's like all on him, you know, and I try really hard to make it not all on him and hire people to help with childcare and yeah, just have people help out, but it's like really hard to ask people to do it for free that are friends, so I end up paying people to do it and it gets expensive and I just feel really guilty and I just think like, oh my God, why did you have to go and whatever? Like you should have just not done the birthday party or not gone to the gym or whatever, and then you wouldn't be in this position anymore. But I just like feel like complete crap. I'm trying not to swear, but I'm bored out of my mind in bed in the dark. But if I'm around anyone or try to do anything at all, my head just like starts hurting worse. And it's like my whole head hurts. Like everything is heavy and achy. And I, oh, and my temperature is like 100.4, which tells me that, well, at least I'm not crazy. Like this is actually a flare. It's really happening. So I I wanted to do shorter episodes than what I was doing before because when you're having a PEM episode, you have even less of a bandwidth than usual. So the things that I want to remember for the next time I have a flare up are to immediately try to get childcare put in place before it gets really bad, to let out the dog and refill the dog food and cat food and water and everything, and to lay down flat and don't try to do anything. Just don't do it. I always feel like as soon as I start to feel one coming on, clawing, it's like I'm clawing in the air to try to like get my life back and it never works. And then you're like falling into the flare up pit and then you just have all this mental distress because you feel worthless, you feel like you screwed up and you feel like a terrible partner, terrible parent, terrible or baby parent, terrible whatever, like whatever your responsibilities are in life, you just like can't do them at all. And you feel absolutely terrible, like terrible. And so it's like physically and mentally complete anguish. At least that's what it feels like for me. I cried so much today. Anyway, in the future, when I have a flare up, I need to remember to just stop right away and just just let the dog out, tell my partner what's happening, and try to put into place the childcare that I have a list of people, but it's not free and it's just like sometimes I just don't know how long this can go on, you know, like I don't know, it's just like crazy. But at least I felt almost relieved when I saw that my temp was elevated beyond even the normal elevation that it usually is, because that tells me like, oh yeah, this is really happening. So anyway, I just wanted to do this. This is the second like installation or whatever of the PEM episode. So just remember to stay in the dark and try to relax your face and listen, like just decrease the amount of stimulation around your body and take deep breaths and try to sleep and like listen to sleep guided meditations, stuff like that. It's one of the reasons why I made a guided sleep meditation a few days ago. Okay, that's it. If you are going through a flare up right now, don't worry, you'll be out of it soon. This is part 3 of the Post-Exertional Malaise episode, and this is Catherine Marie, and I guess this is the 3rd day, but it's not a full 72 hours or anything like that, because the party was a little more than 2 days ago, but not 3 days ago, if that makes sense. Okay. Anyway, my brain is working a little bit better, but I'm having a hard time in some ways with how I'm thinking, and I had an appointment earlier today, and I was supposed to fill out an application for something, and I emailed them and said I can't do it today because my brain's just not in a good place to think a lot about it. And earlier today I actually felt okay for a little while, and I tried to make a list of things that I'm going to do this week that I try to do on Mondays, and got my kiddo off to school, and then I just hit a wall and fell asleep, and then woke up, and I'm struggling to try to get some work done. And then when I say work, I mean something for the project that I'm wrapping up really, really soon, and I'm going to be so glad when it's over, because it's so much harder to do now than it was when I first started doing it, because my brain has changed a lot. I mean, as you know, so, but, this is, I'm gonna take another nap before, my kid gets home, but I just wanted to, kind of record a little bit, a couple minutes, so you could see, or actually it's for myself, so I remember the phases of post-exertional malaise flare-up. I also realized yesterday that, I'm readjusting my hand here, that I had been taking some supplements, and I wasn't sure if they were working, and I just decided to stop taking them. They were not prescribed by anybody or anything like that. But then I accidentally left off the low-dose naltrexone as well. So I hadn't had that for a couple of days. And I do think that combined with doing any exercise, and then especially the birthday party, I think that all of those were constellation that caused, some bad effects in my brain. So, but I restarted all the supplements yesterday, and I restarted the low-dose naltrexone yesterday that is prescribed for me. So hopefully I'll feel better soon. It's just really hard to have to sleep so much because you just feel like your whole life is just passing you by and you're just sleeping through everything, and it's just kind of frustrating. But anyway, that's the story for today. Okay, talk to you later. Bye. Oh, also, I forgot I was gonna mention the symptoms that I'm having so that I remember what it feels like later. So your whole body feels like you have mono and you can barely, like it's like your body gets really heavy and it's like hard to move sometimes, and so you usually end up just laying in bed or laying on the couch. You have like aching in your neck usually, and sometimes the shoulders, especially the left side, because that was the first symptom of COVID that you ever had. And then my head feels like so heavy and like it's swollen or something, and like I don't know, it just feels like it's really hard to think, like I'm fighting to think through my head. And it also is, it feels like I'm on top of a mountain and it's like the air feels really thin, and like I'm breathing fine, but like the air quality just, it's like I just feel like the air is thin. And then what was the other thing? Just feeling like I just ran a marathon and I'm like crawling across the finish line. A headache, trouble with word finding, just extreme exhaustion. Yeah, I think that's the majority of it anyway. So those are the symptoms for like the third day. Okay, that's it for now. Hello, this is Catherine Marie. Today is the part 4 of the post-exertional malaise flare-up that I am experiencing. I am currently laying on my back in my bed. I have an ice wrapped around my head. And I just took Tylenol and Motrin to try to help with the headache as well. But the headache has been the worst. Excuse me. The headache has been the worst symptom today, and I also feel intermittently kind of lightheaded here and there. Instead of the headache being in my whole head, which it still is, there is now a focal point to the lateral aspect of the left occipital region, like right a little bit lateral to the top of the eye, between the end of the eye and the ear. That's where the pain is localized or more intense, but the whole head hurts and it just feels inflamed. Like my brain is like pushing. I don't know, it's probably not, but that's what it feels like. The other thing besides the headache and the lightheadedness is just the fatigue, of course. And sometimes I'm still having a lot of word trouble or word finding trouble. I noticed this morning when I let my dog out to go to the bathroom, I definitely was not going to try to walk any more than I had to, but excuse me again. Oh yeah, I keep having, a lot of times I will just have frequent yawning, and what was I gonna say? Frequent yawning, headache. Oh, and when I came back in from letting my dog out, I felt really flushed, which happens to me a lot because part of my symptoms are that the air will feel thin and my pulse ox will kind of drop, not into anything really serious, because I think that if I had an actual medical grade pulse oximeter, which is used in hospitals for measuring your SpO2, like the percent of oxygen in your blood, normal is 93 to 100. And usually I'm 100%, obviously, but today my wrist said that I was 97%, and a couple days ago it was 89 when I was resting. So during these times is when I try to make sure I wear my CPAP. I found out several months ago that I now have mild obstructive sleep apnea that is, abbreviated as OSA in medical terms. If you I'm trying to explain the medical and the layman way of thinking about it or knowing how to say it. So, excuse me. Anyway, I came back in from letting my dog out and my temp was 100.2 Fahrenheit. And then I laid down and it went back down to the, mid 99s. But it's just so weird how that happens. Yesterday I had a little more energy at the very beginning of the day. Today I was able to empty the dishwasher and try to help with getting lunch packed for the little one. But I couldn't. I was a little more limited today than yesterday, at least starting from this morning. And I lost my train of thought again. Okay, well, I think I wanted to make sure, I remember when I started recording, I wanted to make sure that I tried to include the symptoms I could think of, because I easily forget what it's like when I'm not having a flare. Also, I had a really bad flare in November, which is when I stopped working at my job, and it's weird because some flares you end up going back to your baseline after a few days. And that's what I had been doing for a year and a half, just working as much as I could between flare-ups. But then I just wasn't respecting, I guess, my body enough or something, and pushing it too hard. And then it just kind of went into a zone where it was saying to me, no, we're done now. So sometimes it's a flare-up, you don't really ever come back from it completely because it ends up giving you a new baseline. That's what happened from the one in November. But other times, for example, when I went ice skating and I had a flare-up after that, I think it was 2 or 3 days. And I think 2 of the days I had to be in bed, like bed. So they're different. That's how I experience the flare-ups. There are different types of them, I guess. But this one, I believe, is one that will end at my previous baseline, which wasn't like phenomenal, but it was better than having to be in your bed the majority of the day. So the worst symptoms today are the air still feels kind of thin, but better than yesterday. I have the really bad headache still, and the brain fog, and that's what kind of makes it hard to think about the words that I'm going to say and how to put them in a process or an order that makes sense and is more pleasant to listen to instead of being more choppy, like how my brain is actually working right now. So I think that is it for now. I will continue to sleep in my bed today, and we'll see how I feel in a few hours. Okay, that's it for now. This is Catherine Marie, and this is part 5 of the Post-Exertional Malaise episode, or day 5. Today, I feel definitely like I'm not going to be in bed all day like I have been. My brain is working better than it has been. My temperature was 99.8. I think yesterday it was 100.2, and the day before it was 100.4, something to that effect. So it is trending down. I still feel flushed sometimes, but it's not nearly as bad as it's been. I don't think I'm going to be doing much exercise today at all, but I am well enough to take my kid to school, and I will still probably have to do a lot of sleeping, but I will be able to do a lot more than I have been the last few days. I'll probably start to reschedule all of the things that I had to cancel during the flare-up. But the thing that I tend to do when I start to come out of the flare-up is to just hit the ground running, and that's really bad and really not what you should do. And I don't know why I keep doing it. I think it's just this idea that I don't ever want to be thought of as lazy. So if I am not dead in bed with a flare-up, then I should be killing myself at full breakneck speed to get as much done as possible, because that's usually how I have operated in the past. The idea of trying to focus and do one thing at a time instead of multitasking is an extremely difficult lesson for me to learn and to continue doing after I've learned it and not keep reverting back to my old ways. So I think the biggest thing that I have to keep in mind today is just to not try to get all of the things that I couldn't get done the last 4 days or so, to try to get them done today to make up for all the days that I felt so badly. So I will try to remember that. I will probably listen to the PACE episode again to refresh my memory. And I took notes during the flare-up on things that were helpful and things that I should remember to do in the future, so that way I can make an episode on that too. So that way, if you have a flare-up and you're just in hell and need someone to direct you as to simple things to do, because that's what I need when I'm in a flare-up. And I will be listening to my own episodes as I have told you in the past. I will make that at some point as well, for when you're in a flare-up. And then I was also thinking I may do an episode on just what supplements I'm taking. Not to tell everyone that they should be taking what I'm taking, but just so that you are aware of what I'm taking and why, and then then you have some information that you can talk to your doctor about to see if it would be helpful for you as well. So I think that's everything for now. So far, day 5 is going better than 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I think I will close out this episode because even if I end up having to sleep a lot today, I don't feel like it's so hard to think or come up with words. I feel like my brain is working a little better. So I'll try to just remember to stay hydrated today and to pace myself and not throw myself into another flare-up. So, okay, that's it for now. Wishing you less flare-ups and less severe flare-ups continuously and beyond. Okay, take care.